Today on the CTV News at 5, a Bow Island teen is killed in a horrific accident involving a train. Plus, a Lethbridge adventure athlete is fined for base jumping off the high-level bridge. And protesting cuts for those with developmental disabilities.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. The community of Bow Island is coming to grips with the tragic death of a young 18-year-old woman. Megan Rose was hit by a freight train this morning while crossing the CP rail tracks. It appears the teen was wearing headphones and walking and reading at the same time. The train was sounding its horn as it approached the level crossing at Center Street. The warning lights, they were also flashing, and the alarm bells were ringing.
Train was operating within its normal specifications like speed and things like this. The traffic crossing signals or the train crossing signals were operating properly when the conductor of the train, from witness statements, was blowing the train whistle as hard as he could.
Counselors have brought in to help students at Senator Gershaw School where Megan attended. A young adventure athlete was back in court today for sentencing after pleading guilty to base jumping off the high-level bridge in January. Johnny Corthia says he is glad the process is over, but not certain that justice was served. Daryl Rummold reports.
Johnny Corthius left the Lethbridge courthouse this morning with mixed emotion, happy that the proceedings have finally been settled. Corthius issued numerous apologies over the past few months to CP Rail, to police, and finally to the young people in the community who look up to him. Despite those pleas, several glowing letters of reference, and a guilty plea, the defense's request for a discharge was denied. Corthius was convicted under the Railway Safety Act and given a monetary fine. Corthius paid his $500 fine before leaving the courthouse this morning. What he'll do next is try to figure out if he is still able to pursue his dreams south of the border.
I don't promote base jumping. I promote outdoor living. I promote, safe living as well. I did this jump safely. In my opinion, you should have the right to, pursue your dreams. And even though this was a ticketable offense, you know what I mean, one that I accepted, they decided to make an example of me, and that's exactly what they've done, and it's really unfortunate.
The Crown and judge agreed that had Corthius known the base jump from the high-level bridge would have led down this path, he wouldn't have done it, as he's said all along. Still, the judge said he believed it needed to be on public record to keep other members of the community from following suit.
I'm going to keep my chin held high. The fact of the matter is you can't take away what makes me me. And I'm still going to be happy. I'm still going to have an awesome career. I'm still going to have great friends.
Late this afternoon, some good news. Despite the conviction, he's still able to cross the border. The conviction is federal, but under the CP Rail Act, not the Criminal Code of Canada. Corthius says he's glad to have the whole thing behind him and will continue to promote pursuing your passions within the rules of the law. Daryl Rummold, CTV News, Lethbridge.
We'll have more on Johnny Corthius and the science and safety behind base jumping coming up on our news next week. Meanwhile, police in Medicine Hat are asking for the public's help in tracking down two suspects allegedly involved in a sexual assault earlier this month in Medicine Hat. They are releasing composite sketches now of the men in hopes that someone will have more information. One suspect is described as Hispanic with a stocky build and round face. The other suspect, also stocky, but with a British accent and long face. The eyes are blocked out in one of the sketches because the sketch artist was unable to get an accurate description. Back on May 5th, the 24-year-old woman was sexually assaulted in a vehicle after accepting a ride from two men in a parking lot of a Medicine Hat bar. She was then dropped off at the Husky truck stop. And a new trial has been ordered for a Cranbrook man convicted of a murder dating back 6 years. 39-year-old Tammy Ellis was fatally shot in a Cranbrook home in December of 2007. Cheyenne Learn was arrested shortly after the shooting and eventually convicted of murder. Ellis was a friend of Learn's former girlfriend. Learn was sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole for 16 years. Now the BC Supreme Court of Appeals has determined that the judge in the trial misdirected jurors when instructing them about the intent required to convict someone of murder. A new trial date for the second-degree murder case has not yet been set. And Calgary police are asking for your help in tracking down a missing woman. 25-year-old Janet Chen's family have not heard from her since she left Wednesday morning. She was supposed to meet her family in Calgary, but she didn't show up. Her last known location was in the Medicine Hat area. Chen is Asian, 5'5". She weighs about 100 pounds. She has black eyes and brown hair. She left her southeast home in a 1992 light brown Mazda minivan. Alberta license plate PZM 577. If you have any information, you're urged to contact police or Crime Stoppers. The weekend is here, Dory, and so is a bit of sun.
Absolutely. Bit of sunshine, chance of showers, though still. Very unstable air mass is still over us, but an area of high pressure is kind of compressing that. We talked about this yesterday, so it's sort of pushing everything out of the way for one day tomorrow, and then it kind of collapses back over us Sunday and Monday. So we have a chance of showers both of those days. But the weekend, you know, it's kind of a 50-50 thing. Half of it's pretty sunny, and the other half a little damp. I'll tell you all about it in a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Dory. Too big, too fast, and too soon. Words used to describe some anticipated cuts to programs to help those with developmental disabilities. Persons with disabilities, their service providers, families, and friends gathered in Galt Gardens over the noon hour in Lethbridge, expressing fears if the cuts were to go through. They're worried the anticipated $42 million clawback to PDD will scrap programs that help persons with disabilities with their everyday needs, as well as help integrate them into the community. Many feel the cuts are putting them at risk.
I think it's stupid when the government cuts it back because all of us need money to survive. I can't work very long because I could work all the time. I could afford more stuff. I can't afford a lot of stuff. Sometimes I can't afford groceries. Sometimes I have to go to the food bank.
Similar rallies were held today in both Calgary and Edmonton. Most people don't smoke inside their homes anymore, but that hasn't reduced the risk of smoking-related house fires. Today is World No Tobacco Day, and the Lethbridge and Area Tobacco Reduction Coalition is focusing on fire prevention as part of their message to Southern Albertans. They say smoking continues to be one of the most common causes of residential house fires. While fires caused by smoking inside the home have dropped, fires outside have actually increased by 30%. Health officials say if you can't stop smoking, you should ensure that materials are disposed safely in non-combustible containers with a lid.
This year, the Lethbridge and Area Tobacco Reduction Coalition has chosen the message of fire prevention as part of our messaging for World No Tobacco Day, so making people aware that a lot of fires in Alberta and in Lethbridge are attributed to incorrect disposal of cigarettes.
In Lethbridge, every year for the last 10 years, it's always in the top 3 of causing fires. And in Lethbridge, I believe in the last 10 years, there's been about 5 fire deaths, and all of them have been attributed to smoking prior to the fire.
The Tobacco Reduction Coalition is also concerned about the use of flavored tobacco products. They say flavored products contribute to increased rates of tobacco use, especially among the youth. Recent surveys show that 64% of young smokers are using flavored products. U of C researchers have discovered that rural residents are actually less healthy than city folk. Researchers tracked 3.5 million Canadians with high blood pressure for up to 12 years, and they found that men, the elderly, and people living in low-income or rural areas as well have poorer health than other Canadians. A generation ago, the rural population was much healthier, getting more physical activity, eating more locally grown food, and being leaner. Researchers say this new study shows a sad reversal.
Now rural populations are much more unhealthy than urban populations. They tend to be more overweight, more sedentary, and they're eating the same processed foods that are unhealthy that the rest of us are eating. We're seeing more hypertension, more lipid problems, more obesity, more diabetes, and the consequence of that is more cancers, heart attacks, strokes, heart failure, kidney disease.
The study included data from Alberta, BC, Manitoba, Ontario, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, and Labrador. He always said he'd live to be 100, and he made it. One of Alberta's most respected cattlemen, Happy Campbell, celebrated his 100th birthday today by helping family members brand the calves at the family ranch north of Medicine Hat. As Terry Vogt reports, the birthday branding party has become an annual tradition, and today there were dozens of helping hands to share the workload and the special occasion.
It's definitely a happy occasion. For many years now, members of the Campbell family have gathered in late May to brand the calves and celebrate Happy Campbell's birthday. It's a tradition that started several generations ago, and one that Happy wasn't going to miss, even if he is turning 100. Happy was born in BC, but came to the prairies as a teenager to work as a ranch hand during the summer. He never went back. In the mid-1940s, Campbell struck out on his own and cowboyed the rest of his life.
Decided he was going to have his own place, make his own decisions, and suffer the consequences independently. He did that, and he built up a giant spread well over 20,000 acres, and he's recognized far and wide as one of the greatest horsemen Western Canada's ever known.
Friends say you couldn't find a kinder and more honest cattleman. Happy still loves his longhorns, his buckskin horses, and the prairie, a place where work and play seem to go hand in hand, a place that Happy says is part of the secret to living so long.
Yeah, wide open spaces and stay behind the gate.
Most of Happy's 8 children have followed in his footsteps, treasuring the big sky, the open prairie, and the ranching lifestyle. A life that can be hard at times, but also rewarding for those who understand the seasons and live close to the land.
It's no country for old men, but he's an old man, so this is what makes it all the more special.
Terry Vogt, CTV News, near Buffalo, Alberta.
The celebration continues tonight at the Buffalo Hall. Between 400 and 500 people are expected to attend a dinner and dance where Happy will be presented with a plaque from the Queen. Patients at the Jack Adie Cancer Center have a peaceful place inside the hospital to relax. Volunteers from Sun Life Financial Service Center gave the garden some TLC this morning. The garden was created in the Cancer Center's inner courtyard. Over the past 3 years, the firm has made numerous donations to the center, but none as tranquil as this. Staff say they hope it helps those recovering.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we help out in other ways at the community, at the Jack Adie as well, and it's something, we give back, and you put a smile on somebody's face that just makes it all worthwhile.
Time now for a look at how the markets wrapped up the week.